Yes. Um, so I know what I wanted to study, and then I started looking at the context and I was like, wow, all of this is actually amazing. So we are back in Matthew, which I guess is unsurprising to some of you since I'm a fan of the Beatitudes. We're going to look at our main passage and then we're going to get into some of the background and kind of where I intend to be tonight. Most likely, what I'm going to do is Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 through 24. Kind of throughout the week, I may go a little further, but all of it actually connects. So let's get into that. Tori, if you would be so kind, Matthew
Mm-hmm.
chapter 6, verse 19 through 24.
Alrighty. Ow. Do not store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, or treasures in earth, where moth and rust destroy, where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in or steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The eye is the lamp of the body. So then, if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. So if the light that is in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth.
Indeed. Let me see. I did. Cool. So I intend to do most of that this week, but if I don't get into it this week, I will get into it next week. I actually wanted to be in Matthew chapter 25. Matthew chapter 6 verse 25 and verse 27 or even 34. It's on worry and anxiety. But when I looked at the context, I was like, wow, this stuff is necessary. 19 through 24 is necessary to do first before I even get into verse 25. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll get there this week. We go a little slow. But anyways, rabbit trailing. Let me focus up. All right, so short and simple background of Matthew. Written by a Jew to the Jews about a Jew. Third largest for Old Testament quotations. That's kind of a big deal because that plays into the theme and purpose of the epistle. Matthew starts with the genealogy of David. Why is that relevant? Heavily relevant. The whole book of Matthew, the three synoptic gospels, yes, I said three, not four. John is not a synoptic gospel. The three synoptic gospels all have different purposes and places in the New Testament. While they're almost the same account of the same story, but told through different eyes and for different purposes. Matthew is written very simply by a Jew to the Jews about a Jew. Why is that relevant? Matthew is written to portray Jesus Christ of Nazareth as the undisputed Messianic king of the Jews, which is why the Old Testament quotations are a big deal, which is why Matthew was the only one to start off with the genealogy of David. Even Matthew and Christ and Moses have been compared, and in particular the Beatitudes. It's compared to Moses coming down Sinai with the Ten Commandments, Christ going up the mountain and teaching the crowds. And the law, the Ten Commandments, kind of come into play a lot in the Beatitudes. 6 different times, Christ says, "And you have heard it said," referring to the oral tradition, the book of the law, the Torah. "But I say unto you," putting himself on equal footing, equal standing, authority wise and representation wise, as the Old Testament. "I give you a new commandment," etc. Like all these things that Christ adds, expounds, next levels the law. It is like the addendum to the law, you might say, or the next leveling of the law. Christ would unpack all of that. And the Beatitudes very much tie the motivations of the heart to the external sins. Like you have heard it said, "Thou shalt not commit adultery." But I say unto you, he that looks at a woman with lust in his heart The heart is a big deal in the Beatitudes. It will always come down to your mind, your will, and your emotions, and your thoughts, your words, and your deeds. Those are linked irretrievably. Like there's an emphatic link between what you think, what you say, and what you do. And Matthew explores that very much so, has much to say about the mind. That's a lot of preamble. Now let's get into the good stuff. All right. To reread, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moths and vermin destroy, but where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, your heart will be also. We're not getting past that tonight because there's a lot. If you're looking for like a flow chart or an outline, let me help you out. I will say this one time, nice and slow, and hopefully pronounce everything correctly. Um, Matthew 6:19 through 21, treasure. Matthew 6:22 through 23, vision. Matthew 6, verse 24, lordship. Matthew 6, verse 25, worry and anxiety. That's how everything actually plays into each other, which is kind of amazing because all of the themes really tie together when you actually do your homework. Um, so there's a lot going on. I want to get into the rest of the passage, but I won't be able to because like verse 19 is just ridiculous and verse 21 is like next level. So let's get into that. So number one, the heart. New Testament, Old Testament conceptions. Same word carries over between the testaments. Hebrew would be lieb, Greek would be cardia. It refers to the whole of the soulish realm, mind, will, and emotions, your major personality traits. What make you, you? And now Christ in chapter 6, verse 1, coming through, the transition is from piety to possessions, but everything kind of interacts. It comes down to the things of God or the things of the world. And that's kind of what he's really talking about. And he gets into like, what do you pursue? What pursues you? What has your heart? What controls you? Do you have your things or do your things have you? And it's we say that, but it is kind of next level true. So I'm going to ahead a little bit, but consider this: what consistently receives your time, your energy, your thoughts, your money, or your resources? What do you invest in? What owns you? What dominates you? Like, okay, so I know Husk just got an amazing gaming PC. That's amazing. Praise God. And I want him to enjoy it. And I pray it lasts him every ounce of 3 to 5 years, if not more. Average PC works about 3 to 5 years, sometimes more, depends on the person, if they know how to upkeep it and whatnot. But nevertheless, like that's a nice thing and that's a big deal for him. But now if he turns it into an unhealthy obsession, that can become an idol. What is the definition of an idol? Anything that receives worship more than Christ. So let me go back to this. What is your treasure? Your treasure is anything that you consistently give your time, your energy, your thoughts, or your money to. Like, so what has you? What dominates you? What owns you? What is a source of always your obsession, your thoughts, your daydreams, your energy? What caused you the most pain? What would do the most damage to you if you lost it? What are you the most worried about? Like, consider that. And all of that is going to tie into this section from 19 all the way to 34. All of it is going to flow together that way. Like, think about that. Um, Proverbs chapter 23, Tori, verses 4 through 5. Let's get a little Old Testament perspective. So, am I saying that you can't have nice things? I'm very much not saying that.
23, 25 verses what again?
Proverbs chapter 23, verses 4
Okay,
through 5, please.
thank you.
No problem.
Do not weary yourselves to gain wealth. Stop dwelling on it. When you set your eyes on it, it is gone. For wealth certainly makes itself wings like an eagle that flies towards the heavens.
Same book, chapter 27, verse 24. That's not bad, old school girl. That's not life. I would say life is a gift. Um, but yeah, that's not bad at all. Go ahead, Tori. I'm sorry.
For riches are not forever, nor does a crown endure to all generations.
All right, so let's put this into perspective. We have B and Berean here. Um, some fathers. David probably will be a father, right? Like he is going to start a beautiful heritage, which is the family of Alicia and David, and that's amazing.
Or
And
what?
others, I'm sorry, who said that?
David? I said, bro, what? No, I'm
Right?
kidding. Kidding.
It's all good. It's all good. Um, so what has your time? What has your attention? What owns your heart? What dominates you? What do you invest in the most? Do you invest in the things of God the most, or do you invest in the things of the world the most? It's okay to have nice things. Um, my PC setup, praise God. I'm pretty happy for it. Me and my brother built it from the grounds up. But is it the most important thing in my life? Like, I actually asked this question to Laura, and I'm going to share some of our conversation with you. We were reading the book, and the book was kind of vibing along these same lines where we're in tonight. But what do I love more than her? What can compete for attention? What can get in the way? And what do I have to watch so that it doesn't start to outshine her, the server? Um, you know, you guys don't know, but I receive like sometimes really dumb conversations like right after devotions, or sometimes really challenging questions, and oftentimes to my dismay, when people are having a meltdown, multiple people, 3 and 4 people have a meltdown at the same time. Not just one. Not just, "Hey, bro, is this important? Can I deal with this tomorrow? I'm spending some time with Laura." Like 4 and 5 people at the same time, like ready to give up Discord, ready to give up their life, ready to self-harm, ready to commit suicide, struggling with depression. Like, and it's so I have to balance out, what do I invest in the Discord server versus what do I invest in a relationship? And most of the time, the people I counsel, a lot of them don't want to be seen in the meeting room. So there's one-on-one calls. I'm always talking to somebody in Discord about their heart, about their life, and it's the same conversation with some people all the time. I'm stressed, I'm this, I'm that. I'm sorry, bro. Why are you stressed? Well, I have college exams and I broke up with my boyfriend and this and that. And the conversation always follows the same pattern. Are you praying about this? No. Have you confessed any of this to Christ? No. Have you been in the Word lately? No. Well, then I guess you are stressed because you're being dominated by something that's making you anxious. Christ doesn't make you anxious. So, like, and it's so for myself, what gives me anxiety? The first thing, I wake up and I look at the phone and I'll check to see if I have a message from Laura, and then the server. And it kind of goes in literally in that order. So, like what struggles for competition from attention from me, it would be the server. Like 100%. That's something I have to balance out. And I asked Laura, like, how would you answer this question? And she said, like, her family. But, like we both agree, as we become one, like by the grace of God, us getting married, I have to restructure the way I put time into the server. I have to balance that out. I have to think about that, and I have to find ways so that I'm not intentionally getting wife aggro for my wife, or pissing her off, or making her feel like she's second rate compared to the server. Like I got to find a way to balance that out, like I just do. But getting back to you, what has your time? What has your attention? What has your finances? What dominates you? What are you the most scared of losing, or what are you always thinking about? What do you obsess about? What owns your heart? Not just ownership wise, but what do you obsess over? Think about that. Um, I know a bro who would be a girlfriend or a relationship, and his mind is always Well, I'm lonely. Well, this, well, that, well, the other. And you're going to stay that way, sadly, until you learn to detach your mind from you and now focus it on God and on Him. Because if you get yourself busy about the Father's business and you actually let Him start to restructure your will and your heart, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. If He starts to change your heart, He starts to prepare you. Lo and behold, you get busy about the master's business and then He brings your mate before you. But that takes time because while He's preparing you, He's preparing her too. That takes time. And it's the problem is we get dominated by this pursuit. Well, I need. No, bro, you want. If you needed it, if you were ready for it, Christ would give it to you now. And oftentimes He gives you things you're not ready for it, and then it falls apart. Like 100%, I know that from experience. I know the consequences of bad relationships and the damage it does to your life. And it's like that's why like now I wish so many of those relationships I mean I learned from them. So in that way they were a blessing. They were formulative to me developing and learning, but they did so much damage to my life. So much damage to my brother's life and just like chaos. And now I realize it's because I wasn't ready. It's because I was chasing things or chasing a relationship more than I was chasing Christ. And the problem is the more you chase anything other than you chase Him, that's going to fall apart. It's going to become a curse. You know, the things that you have, how tight of a grip do you have on them? Because if you're so, whoa, I don't want to, like, then the things have you. You don't have the things. And that's the test of God. Like, consider Abraham and the son. Consider, like, it's, bro, literally, so I finally gave you the son that you wanted. Now will you sacrifice it to me? Like, how would we live up to that test? Real talk. How many of us are dominated, controlled by things that are not good for us? Consider that. Like, what would you do with that? Colossians chapter 3, verses 1 through 3, Tori. What being just said, what is the first thing that you wake up and think about?
Therefore, if you have been raised with Christ, keep seeking the things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on the things that are above, not on the things that are on earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God.
Pardon me. So, rereading that. Therefore, if you have been raised with Christ, keep seeking the things that are above. Like, what do we do with that? You are supposed to be Christian. Worry about the things of heaven. Worry about the things of God. You know, in this state in my life, like there's things going wrong today. Discord was acting stupid. The one of the bots that I pay for was acting stupid. Wrecked a whole channel. I had to rebuild the channel from the ground up myself. In a different way. Because like nothing with the bot was working. And I said, screw it, and I did it. And then like there was some conflict with a person who I kind of liked, thought I got along with, and I didn't even understand where the conflict was coming from. The point of the story is rather than letting this take me completely out of my element, I spend time with Laura, talked to Laura about it, prayed, got heavily into the word, spent a good time studying today. I have like 2 full pages worth of notes, or maybe a page and a half, a little bit more. Um, and that's more studied than I ever do. And it's the point is like that rebalanced me. That got me. You know what? Screw stuff. I can't control stuff. I can't control when things go wrong. I can only do the best. What is my obligation in the next 5 minutes to honor Him as much as possible? To I can barely control myself, so I'm going to focus my energy on me, controlling me and just responding the best I can to this whatever trash is going on in my life, whatever's going on in the server, whatever's it's and some days it's just a mess. A person who you invest time and energy in and pray for and talk to, yeah, you're right. And yeah, I'm excited. And yeah, I'm developing. And then you look at your phone, they left. Here we go again. And this is like the third time. And then when sorry, I was having a poor mental health. And it's like, whatever, bro. And it feels like a lot of your investment, your trying to help people, it's at the end of the day, they're really God's kids. They're really Christ's kids. So you just have to trust, you know what, Lord, I did the best I can. The rest is in your hands. And like learning to not be anxious, not be worryful, do what I can do the best I can, keep it moving with the rest, like trust it into his hands. Going back to our key verse in Matthew chapter 6, verse 21, for where the treasure is, your heart will be also. What do I treasure? What do I crave? What do I obsess over? What am I scared about losing the most? Think about those questions. Think hard about that. Think about what consistently receives my time, my energy, my thoughts, my money, or my resources. What owns my heart, my soul, me? What what owns me? Like, think about that. And it's learning to process my feelings, my thoughts through a biblical, healthy model. Like what does that look like? James chapter 4, sorry, verses 1 through 5.
What is the source of quarrels and conflicts among you? Is the source not your pleasures that wage war in your body's parts? You lust and do not have, so you commit murder. And you are envious and cannot obtain, so you fight and quarrel. You do not have because you do not ask. You ask and do not receive, because you ask with the wrong motives, so that you may spend what you request on your pleasures. You adulteresses, do you not know that friendship with the world is hostility towards God? Therefore, whoever wants to be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of God. Or do you think that the scripture says to no purpose, he jealously desires the Spirit whom he has made to dwell in us?
So I love James for multiple reasons, but one of the pro tips about James, Proverbs of the New Testament, yes. But more than that, James is a very healthy dose of you need to show me you're a Christian. You want to grow up, you want to show character, read James. Read James every single day for a month and mean it and tell me it doesn't change your life. Tell me you don't feel conviction. If you don't, we may have a problem. Like but another pro tip of James, James very much recycles quite a bit of the Beatitudes and then tells them again through his own way. And one of the themes going on here that connects to James chapter 1 is a divided heart. A double minded man is unstable in all his ways. Who truly has your heart? You adulterous people. You're flirting with the world. Like, what are you doing? He's all about love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind. Like, if we're being honest with ourselves, if we're 100% being honest with ourselves, do we give God our best? Do we even give God 70%? Like, think about that. And it's in the moment when things are going wrong, stop your process, stop your regular routines, stop running in the cage like a hamster in a wheel. Stop and just think for a second, how can I glorify Christ right here, right now? How can I give him my very best? Well, I don't care if your job is scrubbing toilets, scrub the toilets the best you can for Christ. I don't care if you're working at McDonald's, do the best you can for Christ. Whatever it is, do it well for the next 5 minutes. And then 5 minutes after that, then 5 minutes after that. Like, do whatever you do unto the kingdom of God and unto his glory. So I don't care what I don't have and what I do have. I'm going to worry about how I treat people, how I treat him. What is the definition of my Christianity? What is the definition of half of the New Testament boiled down? Love God, love his people. What is Christianity? One sentence. Love God, love his people. But he wants me to love him with all my heart, soul, strength, and mind. The problem is, like, it's I put him on the throne, then I kick him off when things start going wrong. Well, Carlos, I have a headache and I'm feeling stressed, bro, and I don't know if I'll make devotions. And I'm thinking to myself, that's the main reason why you need to make devotions, bro. Like, it's 100% that's it's, well, you see, you don't understand. No, I very much do understand. half the time I'm teaching or preaching, I don't feel like being here. Like it's 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 not about how I feel, but it is about my commitment unto the Lord. It's not about how I feel, but it's about processing my emotions and glorifying him and blessing his people. And sometimes, most of the time for myself, after I've taught, after I've preached, after I've counseled, after I've prayed, after I've done something for someone else legitimately with my intention, my intentionality being in the right place, halfway in, I forget about whatever I was depressed about, whatever I was angry about, whatever I was salty about, and I'm okay. Why? Because James 5:16 is a thing. I was talking to a bro the other day, and like it started edgy in one of the main channels, and then we started talking, and all I did was show some kindness and listen, and bro's whole attitude changed like dynamically, and I was grateful for that. Like James 5:16 is a thing. Confess your faults one to another, that ye may be healed. Consider that. Like, who's the last person you lifted up today? Who? Who did you pray for? Who did you encourage? Who do you know is struggling? Like, who? What are you chasing? Like, both Jacobs. If we were just sitting in a room, just us three, comparing man notes, what are we chasing with our lives? What is the direction of our life? What are we investing our time, our energy, our money in? And what matters the most to us? Like, think about that. Because whatever I treasure, whatever I crave, whatever I want to control, whatever I'm scared of losing has me. So I say again, where your heart is, your treasure will be also. The two are emphatically linked. Like Christ is just next level, the best at counseling there is, because he understands that stuff 100%. What you treasure, you have a heart connection to. And what you're scared of losing, you have a heart connection to. And what you invest in the most, you have a heart connection to. And where your heart is, all of you is. So do you chase? Do you crave? Do you worship? Do you sacrifice for the things of God or the things of man? Yeah, but bro, you don't understand. I'm trying to get a nicer car because, the girls look at the cars and I do understand. 100%. I get it. There's always something you want, always something you're chasing, but how much time do you have in this life? Like YOLO, yeah, that's a thing, sure. But actually, while the world created it, I think really you should actually think about God. Like you only get one time here now. Eternity in heaven is going to be forever. But what you invest in here is going to have eternal repercussions, reverberations in the next life to come. Like, so what do you invest in? What controls your attention? What controls your mentality? What are you worried about? What are you anxious about? What do you invest your time, your energy, your money, your resources in? What matters more to you than Christ? Full stop. Let's just stop dancing around the question and get right to it. What matters more to me than Christ? Because if I was loving him with all my heart, soul, strength, and mind, if I believed that he is, would I be living my life the way I do? Like, think about that. That's all I really.